Every minute your voice agent hallucinates is like watching cache leak through a cracked pipe. You've patched prompts, you've swapped models, you've chased every quick fix, but clarity is still slipping away. Today is your one clean shot to seal the leak for good. I'm Kevin, and in this video, I'm going to speak to you about the best voice AI prompts that I have found when it comes to setting up the system, setting up the brain, setting up the voice agent to actually do what you want. And what I want to give you in this video is a simple way to remember this by, and it is GPS. So say it with me: guide, protocols, sequence. So guide, protocols, and sequence. And this will be the repeated theme throughout this video. Let's start with the guide first. And this is where you will set the role, the skills, the objectives of the AI agent. So if I just go to my board right here, let's create some notes to make this more easy to understand. So let's start with, as I said, guide here. So here, this is where we're going to set the role, the skills, and the objectives. And you might be saying, what does this even mean? So when it comes to the role, let's say that we are calling our assistant Nova. And we're going to say that Nova, for example, is a licensed electrician. So again, this will all be stuff that will go into the guide part of the system prompt. She works for, a company called Bright Fuse. And she is the head electrician. She's the AI receptionist. She's the whatever it is that you want her to be. Never use vague titles like helpful assistant. So AI assistant, again, is not the best thing that you could do. What you want to say or what you want to do is be as specific as you want when it comes to the role that you are setting. The more clear, the more information you can give right here, the better the output will be. Now, let's speak about the skills. And this is where you'll tell the AI agent, Nova in this case, what skills she has available, what skills she possesses. So let's say that in this case of the electrician, she is able to, diagnose any electrical faults. She's able to schedule jobs. She's able to calm anxious callers, which might be useful in this type of situations. She's able to collect data. So there's a lot that Nova can do simply because you take the time to think about what would be useful in this case. You can also say what she cannot do. For example, let's say that you tell Nova that she cannot create upsells, right? Maybe someone says, I have a problem with one of my bulbs, and Nova goes, okay, what if we change all of your bulbs? Like, we don't want Nova to come up with upsells. We also might not want Nova to be able to settle any policy disputes. So we can also say no policy disputes. There's a lot of things that you can do in the skills section of the guide framework. The next thing is the objective. So let me just clear this stuff up. And with the objective, we just want to be very clear what we want Nova to be able to do. So maybe the objective is to take inbound calls. We want to follow protocols as specified in a specific knowledge base. And we want to follow the sequence, which is going to come very soon in this video. We're telling what the objectives are. We also should specify what we don't want it to do when it comes to objectives. So maybe we don't want it to, or want to avoid any open-ended stuff like help in any way, shape, or form. That would not be a good objective to have. Now, the key here is to visualize Nova, or whatever you want to call your assistant, as the most reliable tech. She's always on time, she's always on script, and she is able to help with the stuff that you have given her permission to help with. So that is the guide section of this framework. Now, the next thing we want to speak about are the actual protocols. So let me just change the color here. Let's go with yellow. And let's speak about protocols. These are, again, super important because these are, if you're playing bowling, right? You have your bowling pins right there. And this is you right here, happy because you're about to throw the ball, the bowling ball. If you have no guardrails right here, which in most cases there aren't, and I guess I suck at bowling, the ball tends to go into the gutter very, very often. Whereas if you had guardrails that were up here, that would allow the ball to literally end somewhere in this range. And that is what we want when it comes to setting these protocols, when it comes to setting these voice AI agents. So these guardrails are, or you're thinking about these guardrails in these or within these frameworks. Number one, we're thinking about clarity and simplicity. I understand that my handwriting here is getting from bad to worst. So clarity and simplicity. So think about this, about like you're training a new apprentice. You can say that, I don't know, a safety outlet should have, maybe not the best example, but if you're dealing with electrics, you can, or you should be as clear and as simple as you can be. You wouldn't say that, I don't know, a power outlet monitors waveform imbalances or all this fancy language. You want to be very specific, very clear with what you are asking it to do, with the protocols that you are giving it. Another protocol might be related to personalization and empathy. And I think these go very well together. Even though we're using a voice AI agent, we want to lead with a human first approach and a robot second. In this case, we want to lead with human first, technician second. We want empathy, we want the human aspect. If someone is calling with a problem regarding their electrics, we want to be able to be empathetic, we want to be able to relate to what they're going through, and that is the best way to help someone in the first place. So human first, technician or robot or whatever it might be second. So here, the personalization and empathy sections, we might say that the agent, Nova, should start with something like, I'm sorry that outlet sparked. Let's fix this fast. Don't say request logged. Let's proceed. Very inhumane, very doesn't leave much when it comes to, or yeah, I guess you get what I'm saying. We want to be there, we want to empathize with the people that are calling, and we want to pass this information along to our agent when we're setting these protocols, these rules that we wanted to follow. The third thing here is to stay on sequence, and we're going to speak about sequence in a second, but we don't want it to jump any steps, right? We want it to stay on sequence. For example, we wanted to ask for an address before quoting prices. We don't want it to guess costs or diagnose stuff that is unseen, because that is where the problems start creeping in. The next thing when it comes to protocols is to, in most cases, provide the current time. Unless you provide this variable, most systems do not have access to what the current time is. In retail, there's a variable, which is current time, which is super handy because you can just insert that as part of the system prompt, and this would give the current time, I believe in PST, and it would make this available to the agent. Without you doing this, there's a lot that can go wrong. Another important distinction here is that since the time is set to a specific time zone, you need to tell the agent that it should convert it to whatever time zone you are working in, unless you want there to be a whole lot of confusion happening. So you can say convert this to EST or convert this to Central European time, whatever it is, or whatever time zone you are dealing with. The next thing is to prioritize the stuff that is important. And here I mean using capital letters or using words like always, using words like must, using words like only. So only do this. You must do this. You always do this. And putting stuff in capital letters when needed. These are really the guardrails that we discussed right here that you are setting up with your AI voice agent. You don't want to use them all the time, but when it comes to the important stuff, they should be there 100% of the time. Now, let's speak about the next part of the whole framework, of the GPS framework, which is the sequence. So again, let's shift to a different color here. And let's speak about sequence this time. And this is think about it like the factory conveyor belt, right? Here we have step 1, then we have step 2 happening here, then we have step 3, then we have step 4, and then, I mean, technically, I guess this should then output something rather than keeping going, but you get what I mean. We want things to happen in a specific order. We don't want to leave this up to chance or to have a different sequence happen each and every time. So a typical sequence, a typical order might be number 1, when the caller calls in, we greet them and we diagnose the issue. We might say, hello, thank you for calling. My name is Nova. How can I help you today? And here the point is to ask targeted questions that understand the problem. That's the whole point, to understand the problem. And the way to do that is through asking the right question. So questions like, when did you first notice the issue? I don't know, has this happened before or is it the first time? Which system is affected? Is it your lighting, your outlets, your wiring? Is it something else? We want to understand, like really understand the problem. I don't know, and other questions can be like, has there been any recent repairs or changes to your electrical setup? Are you noticing any smells, any sparks, any flickering lights? And the point here that you need to include in the rules and even in the sequence here is to never rush, never jump to conclusions. Essentially, you're training someone that's a junior, right? You don't want them to say, okay, if this, then it's definitely this. And if it's that, then it's definitely this. You wanted to ask questions. You wanted to have the whole complete information before making any judgments. So this is super important. Then in step 2, we can collect further information. So we greeted, we diagnosed the issue, and now we collect the relevant, the required information. And here, what is important, it's one field at a time. So we don't want to collect the name, the email, the address, and the preferred date and time for an appointment. We want it to be step by step. So we say, could I have your first name? And what is important with things like names and addresses and phone numbers and emails, we ask it to spell it for accuracy. So the caller will say J-A or J-O-H-N if their name is John, rather than saying my name is John. It's very important to have this step-by-step approach. Same thing with the phone number. Can you say the phone number slowly, one number at a time? Another way to ask for the question, saying what's the best number to reach you? So we're being very clear, very deliberate. We want the best number. We don't want any number. So the caller will then give us their best number. And here, once we get that phone number, it's also a good idea to get the AI agent to repeat that number. So if John says, I don't know, 94921 whatever, Nova actually repeats after John. So your number, just to confirm, is 9492. So there is that confirmation of information. And you can also get it to say, okay, this is your number, blah, 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 blah. Did I get that right? Again, another important step in the process. Same thing with the address. So you can ask, and where's the full address, or can you give me the full address where the work is needed? Please include the city, the state, the zip code. And then Nova then repeats one again to confirm, right? Now, the next thing is to confirm essentially everything. You can do this or not. I would suggest that you do. So at the end, we collect or we confirm, let's call it the bundle. So we confirm everything. We confirm the name, we confirm the time, we confirm the phone, we confirm the address, because if any element is wrong, and John says in this case, my phone number is wrong, we want to collect only that piece of information. We don't want to collect everything. So we recollect only the wrong information, right? Not the entire set. And finally, number 4, let's say that, or let's call this, we set the expectations and we close the call. So here we set expectations plus close. And what we want is to say something along the lines of, great, a technician will arrive within 2 hours. You will receive a text message with the estimated time of arrival. Do you have any other questions for me? And if there's no more assistant needed, then we say, thank you for calling, whatever the company is. Have a safe day. Every call, every time, we want to follow this framework. So we greet, we diagnose, we collect, we confirm, and we close. We don't want there to be any freestyle. We want there to be a repeated step-by-step sort of sequence that we know works every time. And with all this, there's a lot that can happen when it comes to, or that you can do when it comes to tuning as well. So let's speak about some things that you can do in order to tune and ensure that you get the same results that you want every single time. Number 1, we want to use Markdown when it comes to the system prompts that we give. And if you're not familiar with that, Markdown essentially uses a lot of these symbols. So there's hashtags, there's asterisk when you want to bold something, there's dashes when you have a list item, or when you have a list of items in a bullet point sort of format. We want to use this because it makes it easier for the artificial intelligence to know where one section starts, for example, using hashtags. What is important when we have a list of steps to follow. It makes it easier to pass along the information and ensure it's understood in the right way. We use variables like what I mentioned earlier with current time. So when there are system variables that we can use, we should definitely use them, because we'll know that we'll get the same output each and every time. What we should do next is review call transcripts. So after every call, we should be saving the call transcript. We should be saving the recording as well. And we should be reviewing these. Let's say every Friday we sit down, we see what worked, we see what happened, or what was good, we see what could have been better. And with these, we adjust the system prompt. So based on that, our prompt is always getting better based on that adjustment. We think about, edge cases that we didn't come up with or think about before. We remove stuff that was, or we remove anything that's fluff. So if the agent is saying a bunch of stuff that has no effect at all, and we can cut this in half, we should definitely do that. We think about what we can reinforce, where we can use capital letters, when we can use, bolding. We want to keep iterating on our prompts, and there's a lot of testing that needs to go into making your AI agent the best it can be, if the aim is to reduce hallucinations. So again, there's a lot that can be done. The whole point is that we need to follow a framework. And with this GPS framework that I mentioned, which is this guide, protocols, and sequence, we ensure that we give the best system prompt to our AI agent. So if we were to go back here and we're to create an agent, we should literally have the GPS framework in our agent. We need to provide it, or we should provide it with the guide here. We provide it with the role, we provide it with the skills, we provide it with the objectives of the AI agent. Then we have the protocols, the rules that we mentioned. So how can we make it clear? How can we make it simple? How can we make it stay on sequence? We provide stuff like the current time, as I mentioned. And finally, we have the sequence. So we add the markdown as needed. We provide the sequence. So step 1, do this. Step 2, do that. Step 3. And that is how we get the best voice AI agents that we can build. that follow the prompts, that give us and give the customer the best experience possible, and ensures that they come back over and over again. So there's a lot that can go or that should go into the whole building of these voice AI agents. If you found this video useful, hit the like and subscribe below so you don't miss future videos. And if you have ideas for what you want to see next, feel free to leave them in the comments as well. In the meantime, check out the links in the description for more information on how I can help you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll speak to you soon.